everyone, welcome to the Solar and Storage Market Series. My name is Erez Dolev and I'm the Managing Director here at RENVU. Today we're going to be hearing from Alex Lepore, Director of Sales at Fortress Power. He will talk about their new eForce batteries, eVault Max batteries, Avalon, eFlex probably, followed by technical dive into the science of batteries. We also have with us today Kyle Peace, a senior engineer at RENVU. He will share RENVU's advanced online design and quote generating tools, and will show how to create complicated quotes with full bill of materials in just a few minutes. Hey, but before we dive in and while we're waiting for more people to join, I'd like to give a little background on RENVU and some of the products and services we offer. So RENVU is a US-based solar equipment distributor. We have been in the industry since 2012. We currently have fulfillment facilities in California, New Jersey, and Texas. Our sales staff all have backgrounds within engineering and solar installation. A few products quickly to spotlight here. We have a new NEC 2023 safety label pack that will cover any residential installation needs. We carry the whole Solar portfolio, on-grid, Growatt, Soluna, Renon, and Fortress, of course, and can beat any price you see out there. We have the Solar L3 commercial batteries banks paired with the three-phase 30K and 60K inverters. We carry the Lumin Smart Panels. This is a great device to add to a solar storage project since it allows you to use existing main and sub panels and control the loads remotely during power outage or set rules for which loads will continue to work and which ones will be dropped. We have plenty of Renogy Hyperion 405 black and 545 watt, and we have also their N-type 575 watt modules. We have the whole portfolio of Enphase IQ8 series, including the H, M, pluses and the X's. And if you're looking for T-gaskets to make a solar array watertight, Bleecker has several options for different module gap sizes. Email us at info@renvu.com or see our website webinar follow-up email with more info on those. Here's our bulk modules price list for large volume options and our upcoming offerings of solar modules. We carry Renogy Hyperion, Zenshine, Canadian Solar, Q-Cells, Hyundai, Telsun, Solar for America, REC, and more. We are sharing in the chat a link to this page. We update it regularly so you can stay up to date with our latest deals for bulk orders. I'll take a minute also to mention the Bleecker residential carport. This is a great way to expand existing solar system or an alternative solution where you cannot install solar on a roof. And when customers looking for more added values. Start a short installation video here. The carport is designed to be assembled by a small crew. It doesn't require any specialized or heavy machinery to install. This is a solar structure, so it's eligible for the 30% ITC and possibly the extra 10% for US-made products. It is modules and inverters agnostic, and it is designed and fabricated in the US and made from US-sourced galvanized steel, and it comes with 25 years warranty. The structure is coming with a Texas Structural Engineer P stamp. You can install up to 24 solar modules with 4 columns of 6 a 2-car. You can use residential and commercial modules with it, with load capacities up to 48 pounds per square foot snow, 215 miles per hour wind load, and seismic design category F. We're sharing a link to the full version of this video in the chat, and we'll also add it to the follow-up email. Okay. Now I will hand it over to Kyle Peace to go over the online quote generating tool to show you how you can generate a quote with a full system just a few minutes, and we will get started with the webinar right after that. Okay.
All right, thanks, Aries. I'm sharing my screen now. Hope y'all can see it. So I'm on the renvu.com homepage, and before we get started on the quote tool, make sure you're logged in. If you haven't created an account, it just takes a couple minutes to put in your email address, and then shipping address is basically the two things we need to generate quotes, email them to you, and generate shipping costs. So then to get started, just scroll down from the top of the page. You'll see the solar design and quote tool hyperlinked image. Once you click on that, it will bump over to that tool. And on the start page, you can select between a full system or a subset. If you already have racking or inverters, you could deselect those. But we'll go for a full system for this example. And then you can choose your module. Really handy thing I like about this tool is that you can compare the relative costs of each module in a dollar per watt metric. This is a base cost for a single module. If you're buying multiple pallets or container, this price per watt will obviously go down. In this example, I'll stick with the Hyperion 405s. We have lots of them in stock. People are really liking them. I do recommend them. So we'll leave those on, and that's the default option there. If you do have a commercial project, we do have Hyperion and Runner G, or if you need to use a power field racking, you can use those TLSUN 385s as well. And then next up, you choose your racking. You can choose between a pitched roof, flat roof, carport, and a ground mount. And under each option, there's a subset of options. So for a pitched roof, you can choose between your roof surface type. Flat roof, you can choose between a ballasted or a penetrating option. Same with the ground mount. And there's also this carport option, as pointed out, the Blicker carports. These are pretty cool options, so I just wanted to give an example of it here as we go through this. So two joined two-car structures. This is a tandem solution for 4 car spaces, and then you could choose your finish color as you like there. And if you're in a place with high snow loads, um, depending on the number of structures, I believe. So with one structure, we could add the heavy duty snow load. Say you're up in Colorado with concerns about that, you could add that snow load in there, and then you'll see your bill of materials populating as you're making your selections. If you're not sure about any of these components, you can click on any of those. It will open a new page where you can see the item page and learn more about it. And any of the documents we have from the manufacturer here. So in this case, we have the engineering letter and the footer schedule for Blicker uploaded along with the installation manual, everything you need to get educated on that. Then if I jump back, just a second here. There we are. Jump back to the quote tool here. And once we've made our racking selections, then we can choose between microinverters. We've always have Enphase on the shelf and are very competitive with that. And you can add energy storage to those microinverters as well. But in this example, I also want to step over and look at string inverters. SolarArc is our most popular option, and their battery or the battery options below SolarArc include also Fortress, the eVault, and the eFlex, and the eForce are all options you could add from Fortress there. Currently, they are more cost effective than the comparable size of the home grid batteries right now. So definitely keep an eye on those if you're looking for energy storage. And then, of course, if you want to check out the Fortress line of inverters, we have the Avalon, ENVU, and all the different variations of batteries and sizes you could add on there. I think the Avalon is a really cool option that includes that smart panel, reducing a lot of your overall system costs. And made our selections here. We can see our price per watt. If we wanted to compare that to like a Solarc system, we could go and make that selection, look at that price per watt, and see the cost difference there. Just make sure that you're using a similar size battery to make sure you're comparing apples to apples as close as you can. And then at the bottom, you could add in a rapid shutdown device. If you need optimizers, we can also add those in as well. Just shoot us an email. They don't always populate for each inverter type currently. Once you made your inverter selection, then you can choose the number of spare panels. I do recommend these. Every day we have folks writing in saying, hey, a wayward frisbee, a branch, something or other came and cracked one of my panels. It's been a couple years, but do you have any more laying around? And most of the time, the answer is no. We move through inventory really fast, and the module options change really quickly. So I do recommend if you have somewhere to store, get a few while you can because they're hard to track down after the fact. And then you can add on cables, connectors, wire clips, PV labels, Lumen Smart Panel. You can even add in an EV charger. And then once you made all your selections, you get to this final quote page that will review all of the selections you've made. If you need to go back at this point, no problem. You can go back and make any changes. And then once you're satisfied, hit generate a project and email me a quote. It'll ask just a couple check boxes, make sure you're checking with a solar professional, installer, make sure that it'll meet all the codes before committing to your project. And then once you hit submit, you will get an email with a proposal number, and we'll also have it saved in our system. Uh, that PDF, if you need any changes on it, sometimes people take a screenshot and just show us, hey, we want two of these and one of those instead. It's easy for us to do that on the back end. And we also actively monitor these quotes coming in, and we'll send out follow-ups if we notice that there's any compatibility concerns or availability concerns or potential discounts you might want to consider for that system you're looking at. We'll proactively reach out to you with those as well. And then once you have your design, you can actually go over to our permit and plan services. We'll include a link to this in the proposal email or the follow-up email. But basically, you can take that plant or the bill of materials, fill out this permit form, email it over to our partner Illumini, and they've been doing this for years. They can generate a plan set that's ready to submit to your AHJ. If you need to make any changes, they're really quick on doing that. And I've heard even now they're offering a couple other items that make it really easy for you as the project stakeholder to get this project moving forward. They'll proactively reach out to your AHJ, it sounds like, to do the paperwork as well. So it's really neat to see. I do recommend this the service. It's been something that even a lot of our installers that are familiar with plan sets, it's just so simple to go through this route and have a nice, quick and easy process there, and they can get to their work. So that's all about the design and quote tool. I'm gonna unshare my screen and pass it back on to Aries.
Well, one sentence about that Illumini. When you're mentioning that your RENVU customer, they will create a project and notate that it's with RENVU. You will get a little bit better service, I believe. And we will also send you a free uh, safety labels, the NEC 2023, when you do that. So worth mentioning that you're working with RENVU when you're going to Illumini. Okay, so if you have any questions about products or this solar kit guide that or the online design tool that Kyle shared, or about Fortress Power while Alex is presenting, please feel free to use the Q&A feature on Zoom. You have a link for that Q&A feature. And we will get to the questions at the end of the webinar during the Q&A session. If it will be relevant, I might jump in and ask the question while Alex is presenting. You can also email our sales team at info@renvu.com for more information and pricing. This webinar is being recorded, and we will send you a link in a follow-up email. We also have recordings of previous webinars on RENVU YouTube channel if you want. And without further ado, I will hand it over to Alex.
Thank you, Rez. Great job, Kyle. I want to thank the RENVU team for hosting Fortress Power for this webinar. Hey, everybody, for those of you that don't know me, and thank you for the introduction, team. My name is Alex. I'm the sales director here at Fortress. So today in my presentation, going to be going through our residential product catalog. So all those products that you saw on Kyle's screen, going through their sizing. So I want to go into maybe a little bit of a deeper dive of some of those products in themselves, some of the advantages, key features, so on and so forth. So today we'll be focusing on the VPPs, at least a mention of it. We'll talk about the Avalon, and then we'll talk about some of the new 48-volt products we've released, including the eForce. So looking forward to your questions. Thanks again for joining. I'm going to go ahead and I'll share my screen with my slide deck. Can everybody see my screen here? It says Fortress Power on the front.
Looks great.
Yeah, it's not a presenting mode. It's just
I thought it was
browser.
presenting mode.
I mean, we see the whole page, including the tabs.
Oh, really? You see the PDF? Oh, my apologies. Here, let me fix that quick. I thought I had it in presenting mode. There we go. Oops. I gotta do one thing at a time, Alex. All right. Here we go. Is that better?
Yep, even better.
Even better. Look at that. Full screen. Can't miss it. So, gang, for those of you that don't know about Fortress, quick intros. We've been in business for 7 years. We're based out of Philadelphia, and our headquarters, I'm calling in from LA, where we have sales and service folks here on the US coast. Since our inception, we've done over 35,000 installations all over the world, not just here in the US. And as you'll find, one of our kind of key mantras here at Fortress is we make really high quality systems. And we did some studies over the last year and shown that we had a 1% battery failure rate. And in comparison to other solutions on the market, around 3 to 5 or 4 to 6%, that is why we've been able to stay around for so long, right? It's because we make really high quality solutions that are long lasting, and they also help you can do to earn more projects or achieve your goals if you're dialing in as a homeowner. So product portfolio today is really going to be just focused on residential. It is good to note we do have commercial solutions available. I'd recommend you head over to our website, fortresspower.com, and you can learn more about our commercial offerings and some of the features therein. But today's focus is residential with maybe a little sprinkle of VPP to get you guys excited on that. So why installers and folks have chosen Fortress Power over 7 years has been because we help our installer partners take on more projects and make more profit, right? Our solutions are differentiated to help you earn more projects and save time. We have a proven quality with a low failure rate. We have 7 days a week technical support, all based here in the United States. We have access to several financing and rebate programs and revenue operating programs through VPPs, I'll mention here. Then we have, based on those 35,000 installations, several years of experience, obviously, in not only government and utility projects, but also just for home residential storage. So you can feel really comfortable in working with Fortress Power, knowing that we're a tried and true brand. Really, our mission is to enable our installer partners to be successful, because when you guys succeed, certainly I'm going to succeed. So that is why installers have chosen Fortress Power over these last couple of years. I want to at least mention VPPs because they are becoming a bigger part of the landscape in our industry. And a VPP is essentially the grid support, believe it or not, in increasing our customer return on investment through either revenue generating opportunities or rebate programs. So in these highlighted states is where you'll see we are part of these different programs, which have their own program, certainly, but the end goal is removing the customer's barrier to entry by reducing the cost. So, for example, in California, there's programs like the 3CE program, selling back to the CAISO wholesale market. In Utah, there's the WattSmart program that Rocky Mountain Power is running. In Puerto Rico, Luma has a VPP program. Certainly, similar programs exist in the Northeast. I like to mention this because, into next year, and we're at the end of 2024 now, into next year, you are going to hear about more utilities doing these programs. So whether you're calling from a state that is highlighted here or you're not, it's a good kind of not only a good talking point, but it's a way for you to do research to learn about, hey, how can I build these programs into my business model to be more successful, right? Because a lot of these programs have teeth that help, like I mentioned, reduce the customer's barrier to entry to purchase. So more information, guess where? Website, www.fortresspower.com. If you go to Energy Broker, Energy Services, you'll find all the programs we're a part of and the details therein. The excitement here is that it's going to help us deploy more solar and more storage. And if a utility program in one of these states does a VPP program, Fortress can be first in line to get onboarded. So more to this to come. There's a whole webinar we could do just on these programs in itself, but I wanted to tease that out for you guys. So part A of our webinar today is going to be the Avalon. The Avalon is a high voltage ecosystem consisting of 3 parts: an inverter, a battery, and a smart energy panel. And the mantra with the Avalon is powering more with less. So if you're a homeowner, dial in here today, it's going to give you more features, right? More power to control your energy uses, access to more savings, or return on investment opportunities. If you're dialing in as an installer partner, the Avalon is going to give you access to more projects with a differentiated solution that isn't merely competing just on price. More profits with a product that's going to reduce your install time with less components. And at the end of the day, more referrals from happy customers, right? Using that word of mouth marketing in today's age is very powerful, and successful installs for you means you can get more installs through, let's say, that neighborhood chat. So let's dive into each one of these aspects of this product. First, you have the smart energy panel. This panel includes several different features and functions, one of which being load control, right? You can do load management solution up to 6 double pole or 12 single pole circuits. It can be AC and DC coupled at the same time. It does have a generator input up to 12 kilowatts as of today. It's not coming soon. Sorry about that. And at that same token, you have a level 2 EV charger breaker included. So Kyle went through his presentation and added an EV charger. You can actually add an EV charger into this and then charge, as you're imagining, the battery, the electric vehicle battery, from your home storage battery. Very unique solution. You can have this used just as your critical load panel and remove your AC combiner box and just use this as a resilient solution, or you could have it as advanced as using this for load management, active load shedding, let's say for offsetting high costs during peak times like we see here in California. It is UL certified service panel, meaning you can avoid doing main panel upgrades in California, kind of a big deal. And at that same token, we are making updates into this into next year, including increasing the bus bar size to include a 300 amp pass-through, having things like knockouts on the back, so that way you can hide all of the wires as you're running your conductors through the drywall. You can hide all your conductors so it's not spaghetti up on your wall. So it is a all-in-one kind of energy management solution, but it is half the cost of comparable solutions out there on the market. Right. So the SCP is really the shining light, in my opinion, of the Avalon solution because of all the features that it offers. Secondly, well, not yet, but I mentioned about this more with less aspect. And with the Avalon SCP, we're going to be able to save you up to $8,500 just in materials while saving you 30% of time. And how we calculated that was looking at the materials here on the screen, seeing that we don't need another load control panel, we don't need an ATS, we don't need to do a main panel upgrade, or we don't have the need for a sub panel in this solution. Save you guys a lot of time and certainly a lot of money with installing this one big, beautiful box. So more information on the SCP. We have certainly a lot of training. I'll talk about that towards the end of the presentation, but it's a very differentiated and unique solution. Now, secondly, we have the battery. The battery is 4.9 kilowatt hours. It is wired up in series. So this would be 4.9 times 4. I believe it's around 19.2 kilowatt hours. It is floor or wall mountable, LFP, and then you have the battery sitting here on top. So it's modular in the sense that it's easy for transportation and installation, but can certainly expand it more modularly than comparable solutions out there. All the while, it has an active heater built into this as well because it is outdoor rated. And it also comes with a built-in fire suppression system. So this is the next era of batteries that include safety and performance, right? And we're still using LFP chemistry, which is that gold standard for lithium batteries in today's age. You can stack up to 6 high for 29.4 kilowatt hours, and then parallel multiple stacks together via the BMS on the top. I mentioned it being floor or wall mountable. So, flexibility is really one of the key features of the Avalon battery in terms of size, but also expansion in later years. And that's the battery. And then last but not least, we have the inverter. Comes in two sizes, 7.6 or 11.4 kW with 4 MPPTs. You can do 3 inverters to 1 smart energy panel as the sizing guidance we have currently. And that is a 33 kW power system can be installed on 1 smart energy panel to fulfill, let's say, load management. You have the rapid shutdown transmitter built into this box already. And so that is going to be the entirety of your Avalon system is going to be these, 3 boxes that you have seen here on my screen. And you may be wondering, well, Alex, when would I use the Avalon versus your other products? Depends on your client, right? What are their storage goals? What are their application goals? Then you can basically choose between the Avalon or the ENVU, which I'll prescribe or I'll describe here in just a minute, to then basically sell the right solution to the right customer. All of the monitoring, app, and commissioning is done. All the monitoring and commissioning, is done through the app. And in that app is where you can do that remotely, get technical support remotely, and then set up your system to it supports these applications seen here on the left. So NEM2, NEM3 for my California folks, zero export if you're based in Hawaii as an example, maybe even work this in an off-grid solution if that is your prerogative. So all of this is done through the Fortress Power app where you can get warranty, support, and also get your monitoring and fleet management through the Fortress Power app for iOS or Android. So very easy. There are some demos on YouTube if you'd like to check. It is really 5 minutes. I think there's a video out there of one of my colleagues doing it. It's 8 minutes, but he goes through every single little bit and piece of the Avalon setup. So very easy for commissioning after you get everything installed up on the wall. I have some diagrams here. I believe Peyton mentioned that these slides will be shared. So I wanted to include these diagrams. That way you have them for reference. This would be a DC coupled diagram, right? Benefits of DC coupling, a little bit higher round trip efficiency, right? You don't have efficiency losses because of several different changes. And at that same token, it helps for expansion of systems. And then I have an AC coupling diagram here. So you could AC couple existing PV, DC couple additional PV, right? And then basically sell a whole home backup solution without adding more additional panels. So I've seen a lot of folks loving the ability to AC and DC couple at the same time on the smart energy panel because it removes the cost of an AC combiner box, but it also gives them the functionality to go back and kind of work with their client on, well, what is your kind of long-term goal here, right? You can start modular and grow it, battery, not only on the battery side, but also on the PV side. And you'll see here, all they're doing is they're moving the circuits from their main panel to the 50 amp breakers here on the smart energy panel to do that load shedding. Let's say for high usage loads during, let's say 4 to 9 p.m. here in LA, help me save some money on my electrical bill, which really isn't a lot because I live in an itty bitty apartment. But yeah, for some folks, maybe it is enough. That'll work. So one of the biggest things about the Avalon is its space saving design, right? Comparable to like an Enphase system. An Enphase makes a great microinverter product, and they also have some batteries, the 5P, right? The problem is that, at least in California where I live, there's not a lot of space up on these walls, right? So the Avalon's going to take up a third of the space versus a Enphase system just because of its stackable battery format. The inclusion or removal of the lengthy bill of materials with the smart energy panel, and then having a central string inverter, right? So just even seeing these pictures, the Enphase system is less powerful on the right, but almost double the amount of space versus the Avalon system seen here on the left. So make a note of that as you kind of consider your solutions for next year. What is something that's powerful, space saving, and that has a lot of these features and functions? You're going to find that Avalon is going to check off a lot of your boxes. Now, having different options is going to be smart, right? Having the Avalon and utility belt is going to be just as wise as having, your Solarks and your Enphase and your Tesla, whatever that is, because not one battery can do everything, right? But it's always good to have options just in the case of something happening to your main supplier. Maybe they have inventory lead times, right? So having those options will give you the ability to not slow down your cash flow and make sure that you're doing the job that you need to do. And that is really our whole value here at Fortress, guys, that we're a full solution provider. We're not just a battery seller, right? We have resources for project design, support for our installers for installation support, for on-site commissioning, different financing options that I'll mention. We have the ability to be plugged into VPP, 7 days a week technical support. So working with us is not just buy a battery and never hear from Alex again. No, you're going to hear from Alex, and he actually might drive you crazy with all the questions he's going to ask about your business. So that is just one thing about why working with Fortress is wise, is just this aspect of us being a full solution provider. Want to quickly mention, we do have, I know it's December 10th. We do have a program right now that we're providing a free 25-year warranty for any Avalon system installed in this year. I realize that we are 2 weeks away from Christmas or the holiday season, but we are going to offer a 25-year warranty optional for purchase coming in 2025. So make a note of that. More information, please contact Fortress Power. We can give you more details on our 25-year warranty for the Avalon system, whether it's for this year or for next. Starting our training is the best way to get started, guys. Take a second, scan this QR code if you are wanting to join the Fortress Power Club with Alex. And this training is going to give you the technical and sales training needed. That way you can have a successful install with the Avalon. So you take the training, you pass the quiz, you get your certification, and then you begin your first install. And then the benefits of this is going to be lead generation, co-marketing support, priority service for when you have, on-site commissioning, things like that. So I'll give you guys 5-10 seconds. Please scan the QR code at your convenience. Let's get you guys onboarded, and then I can work with you guys on those projects to make sure that we're doing the right things right. I'll give it 5 seconds or so. All right. Like I said, these slides are available. You can also find this training online. So if you didn't have a chance to do it here because you're driving or whatever, this training is online, or we can share it with you with a link and a follow-up email. So let's take a pause there. That was a whole lot about the Avalon. Okay, so the Avalon, as you guys know, is a high voltage stackable solution with an inverter, battery, and SEP, smart energy panel, for things like load management, generator inclusion, level 2 EV charger, has the ability to AC and DC couple at the same time, comes with the ability to purchase a 25-year warranty coming into next year. I'll take a minute. I'll wait for any questions in the chat on the Avalon. Paul, it is transferable. More questions on the transferability of the warranty. I have the warranty letter, and it has kind of more of the details on that transferability. But yes, it should be transferable. Good question. How do I don't know how to clear that, so I'm just going to let it go. Any other questions, guys? What time is it? 10:30. Good question. Thank you for the question. Next, we're going to talk about 48 volt. 48 volt solutions are really where we cut our teeth in our industry. And a lot of you folks know probably about the eVault Max, right? The eFlex. And so today I want to really focus on the eFlex Max, the ENVI, and the eForce. And whoa, that was a lot of scrolling. We have the ENVI True 12 kilowatt inverter. This is a 12 kilowatt off-grid inverter, right? When the grid goes off, it delivers 12 kilowatts of power. It can actually deliver up to 18 kW to the loads and plug in up to 21 kW of PV. The name, I wouldn't say it's misleading, but folks think that it's just a small 12 kilowatt inverter. I'm like, absolutely not. This thing's a huge inverter, but when the grid goes off, we can deliver true 12 kilowatts of power, right? So it's stackable in 10 units. It's outdoor rated, 122.08 volt compatible or 122.40 with the transmitter built in on or off grid. So please note that when you say ENVI True 12, that means when it's off grid. When it's on grid, it can deliver up to 18 kW, right? This is a big inverter. But when off grid, we wanted to make sure that we're not over-promising and under-delivering on the power side, hence, the name. So we also have a 10 kilowatt version and an 8 kilowatt version for smaller PV systems, but the 12 kilowatt is certainly probably our most popular because of the cost per watt. It has a 200 amp pass-through, and it has that generator integration as well. To work with the ENVI, you need one of our 48 volt batteries, like the eFlex Max. The eFlex Max is a second generation solution. We had the eFlex. This is the second gen solution. It is an IP65 5.4 kilowatt hour battery that is flexible in its install method. Certainly floor mounted, floor standing, wall mounted, or included in a server rack. It includes a bus bar on the top of this, a 300 amp bus bar, so you can parallel batteries directly together without a needed external combiner to help save costs. It is modular in those 5.4 kilowatt hour increments and has a 125 amp breaker included on the top that can be locked and tagged out. Its aluminum enclosure means we can dissipate heat evenly across the battery to prolong the battery's lifespan, especially with outdoor rated installations and hot environments. It is an LFP solution with tier 1 automotive prismatic cells, and although you can use this in home energy storage, you can use this in mobile, railway, marine, or even telecom applications. So the eFlex is kind of our flexible, I call it, battery because of its installation and sizing methods. And if you want something a little bit larger, we have what you need there. But the eFlex Max is 2nd generation with some of those little features on, installability, flexibility, so on and so forth. And speaking to installability, we have a product called the Durarack and Flex Tower, which can fit up to 4 of those eFlex Maxes in one cabinet. And then you can run up one set of conductors from the combiner to the inverter. And again, this is maybe more for aesthetics and also cable management with having one battery bank, the inverter bank up top, and then an outdoor rated cabinet to seal everything up and protect the batteries in cold or arid environments. Next, we have the eForce. I'm super excited about the eForce. The eForce is the latest innovation at Fortress Power for our 48 volt products, and it includes 2 things, 2.5. You have a 9.6 kilowatt hour battery, this gray box, stackable up to 28.8 kilowatt hours, which is 3 high. You can parallel multiple stacks together. You can also install this, although this is showing vertically, you can install it horizontally. And the product here in the middle is called the E-Way. The E-Way includes a 750 amp bus along with a Guardian, right? So all of the monitoring is actually already included in the battery, which is going to do things like remote and over-the-air firmware updates, doing fleet management, so on and so forth. And it's still an LFP solution. And the idea being is that you have, I don't know why this is kind of weird, but you can install the inverter directly on top of this solution or to the left or the right, depending on how much space that you have. Right, installing it right on top is going to really consolidate your cables that you need, right? Make this a very aesthetic and easy to install solution. Or if you don't have space, you can install it to the right or the left, and there's knockouts on the side of the E-Way. Again, the E-Way is really that combiner block or combiner solution, draw-off gutter, a lot of synonyms for that solution there. The eForce is readily available for market now. We are selling it. We have units in the field. It is working like a charm. It is out rated at IP65. And the difference with this versus like the eVault Max is that this is a little bit more modular, right? And we do have some current promos going on with the eForce right now, depending on the size that you get. So make sure you contact RENVU and learn more about some of the promos that we're hosting for our NV line and our eForce line. We do a lot of trainings on this. If you check out our YouTube, there's more trainings on the eForce battery. Okay. And you can always hit me up directly with questions if you have them, of course. Now, with that being said, the eVault Max, we love this thing, right? We've had this for a couple of years. This is 18.5 kilowatt hours. It's a 20 units parallel stackability. It's around the size of a mini fridge. Now, over the years, obviously, I got a lot of folks that were like, Alex, this thing's huge. This is 500 pounds, very tough to move, right? So eventually, not today, not tomorrow, everybody, let's keep our calm here. We are going to sunset the eVault Max probably over the next couple of years and then replace that with the eForce. But nothing to worry about today. Nothing even to worry about in 6 months, you guys. All right. But in the future, that is kind of what I can share with you on Fortress Power. Is really excited about the eForce. Although we do love the eVault Max, this is going to be the next generation of Fortress Power 48 volt products. Don't lose your head. We still have them. We still sell them. Just keep in mind that for any future designs, over the next year or two. So a couple different things I wanted to mention is, walking the talk essentially of, I mentioned we did all these installations and projects. Well, let's talk about it. So we delivered 1,000 systems for SEPTA in Philadelphia, running the trains 24/7 since 2019. We worked with the Navajo Tribal Utility Authority project, right, and delivered around 100 off-grid systems with our eVault Max for folks out and the Navajo tribe out there in the desert. We've done projects with CDBG, right? The Puerto Rico Department of Housing, right? Delivering 5,000 systems that were funded by the Department of Energy for folks who lost their homes, right? We have several different home applications of projects as large as what you see on the left, right? Large whole home backup, the luxury homes, or something, maybe a little bit more smaller for the rest of us here with something like a 12 kilowatt NV inverter with an eVault Max 18.5 kilowatt hours, or an installation like the middle, which is the eFlex Max installed with the NV. So whether you're looking at a home or a business, I always mention that's why we have these flexible options. That way you can choose how to design and with which product to design your projects with. The same goes for our app. We have one app for all sorts of one app for the applications that you're selling into as it relates to our 48 volt products. More on the app, head over to our YouTube or our website. We have a lot of information regarding our apps, training documentation, so on and so forth. So let's do a quick recap. We talked about the 48 volt products, mainly the excitement on the eForce. Where'd you go? The eForce, right? Our new 48 volt solution that is 9.6 kilowatt hours, stackable up to 3 high with a built-in combiner. We talked about the eFlex Max, some of the features there, it being outdoor rated and modular, the ability to be installed in an accessory like the Durac or Flex Tower. And then we have the inverter, right? The NV 12 kilowatt inverter, also available in sizes of 8 and 10K. So part of working with Fortress is that we are one hand to shake for your projects, right? No calling this company. We can avoid finger pointing as we work with you on these particular solutions for your projects. We have the monitoring that helps you monitor these projects. And we have service here in the US to make sure that if you do encounter issues, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when, that we can support you guys as best as possible. So with that said, I think that's all I had today for residential. I'm going to stop sharing my screen here. I don't want to annotate. I will stop sharing my screen, and I'm certainly glad I saw a couple questions hit up the Q&A. So I will pop those open and address. Hey, Paul. As a homeowner, thanks for joining, by the way, on your what's today? Wednesday? Thanks for joining on your Wednesday. What are the factors between the Avalon and the 48 volt product lines? There's some factors in choosing the right product for your home. Really, there are several. First of which is, what is your needed size? What's your goal, right? If it's moving off the grid with a generator, maybe it's the NV, right? If it's having the ability to do load control, and load control sounds complicated, but really it's just choosing what loads are powered by the battery if something happens, right? If the grid goes out, I want to choose these particular loads. If you have the need for that sort of solution, load management, maybe you go with the Avalon, right? If you just want a kind of a more basic solution, then maybe you go with the NV to back up a critical load panel. Part of what I would work with you on, or RENVU more correctly, would be like looking at your home holistically and then providing a recommendation based on ultimately your goals, right? And those goals are what application, what size, and then what is your kind of your long-term goal, right? And then that's how I typically work with folks on choosing the right battery for your home or business. Charlie, thanks for joining the webinar here today. The NV is our inverter. It is not a white labeled product of anybody's inverter. It is our inverter, our software, our design. The NV True 12 is 3-phase. It is 1 leg per phase. So if you did a 12208 with the NV, you'd have 1 leg per phase to achieve 12208 3-phase projects. Yeah. Good question, Charlie. What is the Carlton? Thanks for joining the webinar today. Good to have you. What's the coldest temp the unit can operate in? Coldest temp, batteries, operating ranges on batteries on spec sheets will say 32 to 113 degrees Fahrenheit, right? My battery guy, my recommendation, in terms of storing it is anywhere from 50 degrees Fahrenheit to probably like 95 degrees Fahrenheit. It can go lower, right? But I always tell folks, well, look, like you want it in between those ranges. And that's part of the reason why we included a heater in our Avalon, right? Because although it can go down to 32, that's not necessarily super healthy for the battery, right? Cold temperatures have an adverse effect on batteries because of charging and discharging limitations, right? So you want to keep it. It can go as low as 32. Let me just wrap this up. You can go as low as 32, but I recommend keep it between like 50 and 95, or at least try to. Right, that'll make sure that you're not going to be experiencing extremes in your temperatures for your system. I hope that helps. And sorry for the long-winded answer.
Okay. If anybody has more questions, this is the time to ask them in the Q&A. If not, thanks, Alex, and thanks, Kyle, for co-hosting this webinar with me today. Thank you, everybody, for participating. Our team will work on the recording and send a follow-up email with the recordings and more information about everything we discussed today in the following day or two. Let's see. Okay, we have one more question here before we're closing. Do you have mobile systems?
We do not. We do not have mobile systems. As of right now, we just have, how do I say, like stationary energy storage. We do not have any mobile batteries or generators or things like that. All that is stationary.
We do have access to some mobile storage. You can maybe contact us at info@renvu.com and we will share that option with you. And if no more questions, thank you, everybody. Have a good rest of your week and happy holidays. And we'll see you next year.
Thanks,
you,
y'all.
Alex.
Head over to
Thanks,
my
Kyle.
website if you have questions. Hit me up. I'll be hosting the Holly Jolly webinar next week. Sorry, Russ. I'll be hosting the Holly Jolly webinar next week. What day? On the 18th. Be there. It's going to be lights out in a good way. So hope to see you there. Thanks, RENVU team. You guys are great. Appreciate y'all. See you.